Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this channel. Karibu sana to Coffee with Charles. My name is Charles Wachira. And coming up, when you are working for somebody and then you are doing the same thing outside, it's termed as a conflict of interest. And that is what has brought a lot of problems even to our government. Sit down with your parents and ask them, what are you saying? Why are you saying this? Because they might save you. Karibu sana, this is Coffee with Charles, and you're going to be tackling a couple of questions today just to inform you and just to help you make decisions in life. Now, before I get to the question, I would like you to look at that number on your screen now. If you want to send us a message, a question, use that WhatsApp line and send us that WhatsApp message, and we'll be able to respond or cover it in our next episode. You can also like the channel, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that when this content is released, YouTube can alert you. And so today we are going to look at some questions that have come to us, and let's dig into it. Okay, I've been working for a company that assembles computers. Sasa, I have been approached by some customers on the side to make for them computers. So after job, I take my work tools and go and assemble computers for them. I have even carried a few things like screws from the office to my house. But recently, I just felt this is not right. I'm in a dilemma. If I stop, I will not get a side hustle. But if I start my own company, I'm not sure it will succeed. Please help. Okay, so you are a computer assembly guy, and you can assemble computers, and you're working for a certain company. And so your dilemma is that you've been doing some side hustle, assembling computers for guys outside the office who contact you. And the issue here is that you are taking away the tools that you use in the office, and even recently you are taking the screws, and who knows where this leads. You may even be taking the computer parts to your house to assemble. And these things start like that. You know, the side hustle is not the problem. The problem you're encountering is what I would call conflict of interest. What does it mean? Yes, you have a skill. You own the skill. You know how to do this work. But then over the weekend or outside, you are able to assemble some other computers, which is not really the issue, because hey, the skill is yours. You can do your side hustle huko nje. But the issue is that you begin taking their tools, you begin taking their screws. Pretty soon you may even be taking, as I said, their parts to go assemble. And that's a problem. When you are working for somebody and then you are doing the same thing outside, it's termed as a conflict of interest. And that is what has brought a lot of problems even to our government. Like, you are supposed to be, like recently I watched on TV, you are the one supposed to license bars as a government official, and you are running bars. That's a conflict of interest. Because how will you refuse to give yourself a license? You are the one giving the license, and then you license yourself. Then even it's unfair competition, because you are the one who might see that your neighbor's bar is doing well, then you deregister it. And you see where this thing starts to go and become a mess. Teachers, you are teaching in school, but evening you are tutoring the same students. What does that mean? You might even be tempted that you don't actually tutor them in school, You want them to come home. So even you don't want them to do so well that they don't need tuition. You create a scenario where you don't teach well so that you teach them at home. And then they realize that when you're in class, you're not enthusiastic as much. But when you're in the house, you are really doing a great job. Conflict of interest. You are a doctor. And people come to see you, you're always referring them to your clinic. These are the things that are happening in this country. You have an X-ray machine across a building, and you are in this general hospital, public hospital. People come there. You make sure the one in the public hospital is not working. You make sure even anytime it's repaired, it gets spoiled. Haven't you even wondered why those things don't work? Why there is no medicine in the hospital? Because someone there is benefiting by you going outside to buy medicine from his pharmacy. So ala ukitritiwa hapo kwa hiyo hospitali, that public hospital, and get medicine, where should you go to his? In the public hospital, if you can get an X-ray there, a scan there, an MRI there, why should you go to a more expensive place? But that is a conflict of interest that exists in this country today. It's funny. The people who are supposed to give you the service don't, and then go there and give you a service outside, make money. That's why some people really have gotten so rich, because if you are the one dividing the pie, you will divide the pie and allocate yourself some of that pie. It's unfair. And so this guy is the same thing. Him is not in the government, he's not in the public office. This guy is in the company, and he's already looting the company to go do his side hustle. So he has developed a conscience, and the conscience is talking to him and telling him you're doing wrong. And that is the first place it begins. For everyone who is in a conflict of interest, there's a voice deep down. The Holy Spirit is talking to you and telling you this is wrong. You can feel something telling you, he is not right. And like this guy, you're even innocent, you're starting out. Even his intention was not to defraud that company. But this thing can grow and become a monster, where you even begin to do other things. Or even when the customers come, you talk to them on a side path and tell them, Hapa, if you do your work here, it's going to be charged this amount of money. But if you let me do it out there, I'm going to charge you this amount of money. And it's very lucrative for people who are ordering a lot of things. That's a lot of money you will save. You know, I just used to get kind of really amazed at how, for example, PR companies work. So here's a PR company. The PR company is supplying that service to a certain big company. And then when those guys in the big company realize that you who is sent to them to do their PR is very effective and very efficient, or what they say is that, you know, they are paying maybe 10 million to that company every month to do this service for them, or 5 million, whatever it is. And then they realize you are the guy with the ideas. You are the guy implementing the blueprint for them. And then they approach you and they tell you, well, we'll pay you even 500,000 per month. You come become our PR officer in the office. We hire you. And they loot that guy from that PR agency into them, and then they cancel the contract of that PR agency because the brains were this guy. And that has happened a lot. And you know, it's just that it's willing employer, willing employee, and they get into another contract. So that's a simple example of how these things work out there. So this guy, why don't you start by saying, I will not do this the way I've been doing it. So you want to start your company, but you don't know if it will succeed. So you're a bit afraid. You don't know it will catch up or fail. So my advice to you is that first, you've done the right thing. You've developed a conscience and you want to stop. So stop. Number two, yes, if you want to do that side, if you want to build your own thing, build it legit. Go outside there. Don't steal their customers when you're working there. Don't begin to steal the equipment and parts. Why don't you just really take your talent away from that company if you want to start yours, and start yours. And kiumane. But if you are going to work for them, respect their time. Do well for them. Because at the end of the day, even if you start yours and someone does that, you will feel it. The people who do these things when they are working for others, you will feel the pain when you do yours and someone does that to you and is your employee. Then you realize what you used to do has come back to you. So young man, you have a future. Stop doing that. Just settle down. If you want to leave that company and start yours, go ahead. If you don't have the courage, stay there and learn and become good. And stop these temptations of pulling business out of there, taking it outside there. This thing, when you are caught, it will be a conflict of interest and you will be fired. And then now, who will benefit? Coffee with Charles will be back to you after this break with another question. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Coffee with Charles. You are watching Charles Wachira, and I'm gonna be talking about this second question. So let's go into it. I recently took a loan from a company that's charging high interest, but they appetized me by saying I was gonna get this money in 24 hours. Now, 3 months, it's been 3 months, and the payments have started becoming hard. I fear I will default. What do I do? Now, let me address this issue. There are some of us, of course, and these things have become so popular in our day. People on this side of business know that you need money. I told you last time, a business is about solving a problem. There are guys who know that you have a problem, and your problem is that you don't have money, or you want to access some credit to buy a car, to buy a plot, to buy something, or just to go on holiday or something, and you really don't have money, but you need the money. So they are out there to solve a problem, a financial problem. Now the problem is that they have discovered that banks are very strict. They will check your CRB credit score. They will check your statements. They will look at your history. They dig deep. Like you're told to bring 1 year statements, and some people just know that won't work for them. They go through a very vigorous process of vetting you, and they end up, giving you money at a fair interest rate according to the country's interest rates dictated by or set up by the CBK. And you get your loan, but it's like a process going to the bank, and this is for people who have not defaulted on other loans. There's a lot of process. So at times, some people have come to solve that problem by offering a solution that is chap, quick. So what happens? You go and they call you, they have these adverts, they present themselves as mobile financial apps. Others just, you go to the office, they promise you heaven. In 24 hours you'll have money. They can give you, what they call logbook loans. They take your car as a security. The logbook of your car as a security. They give you money very quickly. What you don't notice is that they don't tell you the entire interest of the year. They don't tell you that. They tell you for a month, and you don't really think what's cutting, because if you go to a bank and maybe they're giving you a loan at 20% or 19%, okay? If you divide that by the year of 12 months, you realize maybe per month it's 1 point something percent, 1.51%. But these other guys are telling you are going to give you a loan at 4% per month. So at the end of the year, you're doing 48% of the money you borrowed. You're almost paying them half of what you borrowed for the year. itakulemea. If kwanza you have a problem with money and then now you're going to borrow expensive money, and that's why they are very fast to appetize you. You'll have a car in 24 hours. You'll have this money in 24 hours. You just go for it and you run for it. Now, look at the details. Look at the details they're not telling you. They are talking here, but under the table, please look at the cards under the table. They are out to make you sink into that sweet gravy. And that's why you will notice some of these companies have repossessed cars that they helped you buy, or you borrowed money and you used a logbook as security. They have repossessed your car, and these yards are full of those vehicles for people who have defaulted on those loans. You've discovered you've done a mistake. You borrowed money and 3 months later you're finding it is very highly charged, and they are ruthless. So when they give you the loan, they are smiling, they appetize. They tell you, will not look at the CRB, will not look at statements. Wewe kuja, we give you money, just come with your logbook, or let's help you buy that car, and you will be quickly sorted in 24 hours. When the bank is saying 2 weeks, even 1 month, they are processing your documents and asking more questions and tiring you, frustrating you, and even at times they don't give you. So you have decided you are taking that money, but you do not know the future of how utalia of this money you took. So what do? You need to start understanding, my friend, the cost of credit. Does it mean you won't buy? Yeah, the cost of credit is that those guys, if you want to be safe, is that if you borrow that money at high interest, you need to pay it very quickly, like 3 months, and get out of there. And is that possible? Because you really had a high need. The guys who know this thing, they go in quickly, get the money, go out quickly. But is it even worth that 3 months of what they have charged you? They are in this business like sharks. They are after your blood. So, be wise. Read the details, question them, and when you start asking them hard questions, you'll see how quickly they start looking at you like a trouble. Then they want to tell you like, hey, we maswali mengi ya nini, just sign here. No, don't just sign there. Be very careful, because now gari yako itachotwa. That title deed is gone. These just like the days of Shylocks, who used to tell you, bring your car here, we give you money, after 3 months, we will give you back the car. And they know you will not toboa. So they go and sell your car even at a bigger profit than what you borrowed. And they end up gaining. Anyone lending you money must know that they can make more money from you, whether via interest or whether by selling what you gave them as a security. And that is why people are really troubled. And car yards are full of cars that have been repossessed. I mean, it's like a game of numbers. You go in as many numbers, you take loans, then many things are repossessed from the same numbers. So my friend, please be very careful. Don't be appetized, because when the deal is too sweet, think twice. I've seen very intelligent people coming from abroad to buy fake gold here. Anyone can be conned. These are times I just want to say are scams. And maybe the central bank should really unleash its whip and control these people, because I don't know why they run with these kind of companies and these kind of rules that they don't even look at your CRB. They don't even care about your statements. They just want to give you money. You need to be sharagani. And maybe we need to ask the government to protect also these borrowers who are innocent and end up being, tied with loans they can't pay. But they will say it's willing buyer, willing seller. You can approach a bank and tell them you took this heavy interest loan, and if they can buy it, and you go back to your bank and you pay now slowly with comfortable terms. That's one solution. 2 could be just get money and pay it quickly and get out of there if you're already inside there. and leave that place before it roasts you, because at some point utalemewa. This is Coffee with Charles, and we are here to make your life better by giving you some advice on how to make better decisions, life decisions. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back to Coffee with Charles. Remember, if you have a question, you can always write on that WhatsApp number, or you can leave your comment on the comment section. But also remember to like the channel, subscribe, and also hit the notification button so that you can always be alerted when this content is released by YouTube. And so, going for the third question. I live with my mother and I'm 30 years old. My mother is against my girlfriend. She says she is not a good person. We've had fights because I love her, but my mom says she's a pretender. I'm split between these two women. I love both of them and I don't know what to do. I don't want to offend my mother and I don't want to lose my girlfriend. Wow. In fact, let's start there. So you say you're 30 years old, and part of it is you are living with your mother. By choice, or I don't know, you haven't told us details, whether you prefer to live there, you are working there. And remember, your mother gave birth to you, you will always be their child. So if you live with your mother, just be sure she will interfere with your business. And she has a time to look at what you are doing, whether you are 10 years, 20, 30 now. Maybe you should have moved away. I don't know why you're still there, whether you don't have a job or you prefer to live there. There's a reason and you haven't told us. And so these are the challenges that happen when you are an adult living with your parents. Then don't be surprised when they interfere with your adult decisions. Now you are an adult, they are adults. It's no longer when you are a teenager or when you are in school. Now they have a say over you. And they know you're an adult, but they will not stop talking, especially, there are parents who really don't even know how to keep their side of the business. And anyway, you're under their roof. So what do you expect? So first, even before I go further, if you don't want maswali mingi and you have a job, you go move. By now, you're a man, go move, start your house, you'll be visiting your parents. But when you live with them, your business becomes your business. In fact, at times, they'll call you and ask you, hey, uko wapi, mbona hujakuja leo? Ama umechelewa wapi? But when you live in your own house, no one will bother you. However, Kenya vile iko, the economy is tough. So hata kwenda kurent your house, you may even think of staying at home wisely, ubangaize hapo as you panga yourself, because why should you go pay rent if your parent has a nice house and you are staying there waiting for maybe when you'll marry this girl and move on? So what's the problem? Your mother has started interfering and talking to you about your girlfriend. So she has been observing and looking quietly. When you come there, you have your chats. And women have this intuition. They are looking at this girl and judging her. Maybe even hajamuongelesha, or maybe she had something in church with other women about that girl, or in the estate. There are, women talk. And you are shocked where she got information that your girl, she has branded her as a pretender. She doesn't like her. She says she's not a good person. So, first and foremost, for anyone watching this, whether you live with your parents or not, when you present your girlfriend to your parents and they have a comment, or your boyfriend and they have a comment, don't be quick to dismiss them and move on with life saying wana mawivu na wana mashida zao tu. It could be wana mawivu na wana mashida zao, but I would want to ask you, would you just take some time Like in the Bible, Mary put these things in her heart and thought about them. When the angel told her, you're going to get a baby, and it's not going to be a man giving you a baby, it's going to be Holy Spirit. Then she went and thought, because it hadn't happened to anyone else, there was no reference. So she went and pondered these things in her heart. Could you who ask your mother why she's saying that, and ponder over these things? Why am I being told this? Could it be true? Because you may dismiss it so quickly, wachana kunisumbua, but some have come back to say, hiya, there's something you had seen. You know, your parent loves you and your parent wants to protect you. Some do that without facts. So they are saying things by just judging someone. Judge the book by its cover. They are not reading inside and seeing what kind of a person. Maybe this person is good. But maybe they have derived those things from what they have heard, how you look, what you wear. They just make their own judgments. Some are biased, some are wrong. But others are correct. They have observed something you don't know, or they have heard something. So, why don't you sit down with your mother and have a conversation like two adults? Ask her the questions. Yeah, you say she's not a good person, she's a pretender. Tell me why you think so. Have that conversation away from that girlfriend of yours. So that you begin to understand where your mother is coming from, or your father who is telling you. Because you may trash it and then later you are saying like, oh, I wish I'd listened. You listen to the reasons. If they're just rumor mongering reasons and they're just fake and biased, then make your decision, because it's your life and it is you to choose the kind of a wife you want to live with. These are not those days of arranged marriages. These are days you choose your spouse. And so if you choose your spouse, you can't blame your parents for what you chose. Kama ulichagua mtu and later you regret, it's your choice. And now you're 30 years. That's a good age to settle down and marry. So maybe this girlfriend has been a girlfriend you've been with and you're planning to settle down. Why don't you ask harder questions? Why don't you have a sit down? Because at times when you ignore it. And then number two, as long as you're in that roof, as I said earlier, as long as you're in that roof, expect to be your business to be interfered with by your parents. And if they are noticing something, it's because you're always there in the house. And women can read these girls, and maybe even your dad is there and observing, and they are telling you things. However, your decision must be your decision, because you are an adult. You don't want to lose a girl and later say, hey, it was you, my mother, who made me lose that good girl. It was you, my father. Now I'm 40, I don't have a wife. It is you who has to make that decision. And if you don't want these interferences, see, I said you should have by now moved to your house and you should be visiting them with that girlfriend. And even when you visit them, maybe they'll have a comment because it's something they have observed. So what would I tell you? When those comments are negative, or when they are positive, or when something has been said, don't be quick to dismiss it. Just ponder over it and ask the hard questions. Sit down with your parents and ask them, what are you saying? Why are you saying this? Because they might save you, because they love you and care for you. And really, some people are truly pretenders. And you are so blinded with love, you can't see the reality. And remember, even this thing we are saying, reality check. Don't be so blinded with love that you can't see obvious things, red flags flying all over, as they are called. So from Coffee Charles, that's my advice. Brother, jipange, uliza maswali. Talk with your mother, sit down. This is Coffee Charles. And as I leave you, situfikirie hao maneno. Until next episode, kwaheri.